Hi, welcome to Relax and Chat, episode 33. I've got a great treat for you today. I've got Molly Macabre, the author of the fantastic book Dark Bloom. Hi, Molly.
Hello.
How you doing
Hey,
this?
Rod, how are you?
Hi, pretty good. Little technical difficulty there at the beginning, but we're
Yes, yes. We
good.
worked through it. We worked through
Yeah,
it.
I think we're going to be fine. But we lost a little time, so I'm going to jump right into a couple of questions and we'll go from there. Okay?
Okay, that sounds great.
Awesome. Well, I've got to ask you, I recently, very recently, finished reading Dark Bloom, and I absolutely loved it. And one of the things I really enjoyed about the book is that it almost reads like a memoir. So much of the content seems real, not so much fiction. And I was curious, how much of that book would you say is based on yours or your husband's or a friend's reality? And how much of it was just simply a writer's great imagination?
I would say a lot of the emotions and the feelings and the mental hardships that went into creating Dark Bloom are very much all mine. Even Nick's side of it. My husband is a veteran and he definitely deals with a lot of stress and post PTSD and depression and anxiety, but I really didn't want to pretend to know what that feels like from him or from someone coming from that point of view. So I just piled on my own my own experiences with depression and anxiety onto Nick too.
Uh-huh.
So really it's the world is fictional, the events are fictional, but the feelings and the anxiety and the mental struggles are definitely very much things that I have experienced through life.
Oh, I didn't know that. I mean, when you read it, it really does have sort of a memoir touch to it, which adds to another layer and makes it even more incredible. You know,
Sure.
it really impressed me. I did a review. I hope you saw it. The book impressed me very, very much.
Thank
And
you.
one
Yes, your review is
thing,
lovely.
and one thing I sort of noticed, and I'm one of these read between the lines, gut instincts type of guys, and sometimes I'm way off base. But when I was reading it, it seemed like because you've got three complete stories there, really. You've got three stories. You could have wrote three novels. Nick's story, Kate's story, and the real time story in the apocalypse time. And very well written, very, very interesting stuff. But as I read through the book, as you transitioned from one story to the other, it struck me that it was really hard to write Kate's part, harder than the other two. And now that is really, in my opinion, one of the strongest horror aspects of the story is Kate's previous life.
Hmm.
And I don't want to get overly personal, but it did seem that as a writer, Kate's parts was the hardest. Did you find them to be the hardest to write?
Definitely it was difficult to write, especially because I didn't want to cross over any lines. Um, I didn't want to go into great detail. We didn't need an explanation or a vivid description of what was going on there. I wanted to produce the feelings of dread and really hit home what she was dealing with without disgusting and appalling my readers, if that makes sense. So that's why all of her scenes sort of cut, like we get it, we know what's going to happen, and then I would cut it short because I just that's not something I'm comfortable writing. I'm comfortable writing up until that point. So yeah, it was hard to find that line of I want the reader to really feel what's happening and really understand what she went through, but I also don't want to write what she went through.
Well, I tell you, that puts you in a class of your own in a way. I'm on social media, particularly Twitter, a lot. And, I'm on Goodreads, browsing books as often as I possibly can. And there's a trend right now where disgusting your reader is the goal. There are writers out there
Yes.
that write with the sole purpose of just being as gross as they can be. And somehow that gets labeled horror. To me, that's two completely different things. And for you to set yourself apart and say, yeah, I could get extremely graphic and I could do some really let's call it raw stuff, but I'm going to stay on the upper level and I'm writing a different kind of book and I'm not going to go there. I salute you. It takes a lot of courage because right now that trend of being gross and disgusting or whatever, that trend is strong. Those guys are
Yeah.
making sales. And a writer of your caliber to say, I've got the skill, I've got the ability, I've got the confidence to write a real story, and I'm skipping that stuff. I salute you. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
You know, you really created a strong image of horror, and you did it in the style of horror. And I love it. I think you did fantastic with that.
Thank
And
you.
one more time, I don't want to be too repetitive, but it is worth saying again, sincerely, I salute you for doing it the way you did it, for being you and not worrying about the trend, you know, and your book is authentic. It seems very real. It's extremely well written. You really hit a home run. You did fantastic with that book. It's one of my favorite books I've read anytime. And
Thank you.
the select best. We have always lived in the castle, Shirley Jackson, Frankenstein, several others, exceptional books. After I read the ebook, I go and buy me a hard copy and the best version I can find, and it goes on my bookshelf, which
Gotta
is
have a trophy.
yeah, that's a super honor, and it's something I know I'll go back and read again. And your book will definitely be on my bookshelf. Uh,
Thank you.
very, very well done, for real. Let's see. Another thing I noticed in your story, and I really like this aspect a lot. As we jump from the different stories, I don't want to leave Nick out. His backstory was very gripping. You know, it showed a lot of his heart and personality. It made him who he was in real time. And you did a fantastic job with the backstory of Nick, and it made you feel for him as he went forward through the main plot. And I don't want to leave him out. That's why I brought that up. But I also want to talk about the real time story. And one of the things that really, really touched me, and I've got to say, I believe this myself, the real horror and the dystopian world, honestly, it wasn't the zombies. It was
No.
the other people they encountered. And I strongly believe today, right now, if all of a sudden our normal society collapsed, we didn't have cops. Sadly, that's the way the human beings would be.
Yeah.
Sadly, a huge number would turn into animals. You and I both would not be safe to walk outside.
No,
Male or
definitely
female
not.
doesn't matter. We would not be safe. You know.
Yeah.
Now, I'm curious, as you were writing that book, was that prominently in your mind and you wanted to get that message across? Or I'm 100% pantser, so my books develop with no input from me. Did
I love
it naturally occur in your book, or did you have a thought that, you know, I want to send a teeny bit of a message out there that, you know, especially in these days, an apocalypse could happen. Are we going to turn into this? So, what kind of brought that about in your story?
I'd say just that's a theme that always lives in the back of my mind. I am very fascinated by human dynamics in that type of setting, in the apocalyptic setting. Some of my favorite, shows are The Walking Dead. Then there's movies like Bird Box and A Quiet Place. And so I'm fascinated by how human relationships function after an event like that, whether it's how strangers interact, whether what Nick and Kate, how romantic relationships would blossom or be devastating. So that's just something that's kind of always there. I definitely had the opportunity to go more into interactions with other people, which will definitely happen in my sequel. But yeah, you do get a taste of that in Dark Bloom. Just some people are awesome and some people are not, and some people you think are not and are awesome, and then vice versa. So yeah, it's just when something like that happens, there is nobody telling you who you should be, who you have to be, what the consequences are, because there are none. And I'm just very fascinated by that topic.
Yeah, well, you played it out wonderfully in your story. You know, I really loved how Nick had a gut instinct, and, you know, I believe in a gut instinct, and he kind of knew maybe there's something just not right about this guy. I'm trying not to give away any spoilers.
Right.
And when it proves to be true, little Kate, who you already are in love with her, you think she's amazing. I love the victim. What was it he called her? She's a victim, but he called her a warrior. And she's both. And she's both very beautifully, very well written. And when some of these negative elements show up, her courage in that moment is very real, very realistic, absolutely could happen in a real life situation. And that's probably my overall love of your book, is how so much of it doesn't feel like fiction at all. And you really, I mean, you hear it all the time, but in your book, you care about your characters.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, Nick is my best pal. And, you know, if I wasn't so happily married, I'd ask Kate on a date. You know, these people are fantastic, you know, and you did such a masterpiece of character development. You did so beautifully in that. And let's be nice and give your editor a little credit. Probably had a in it.
I love my editor.
Yeah, and I commented on the editing in my review. Super well done. Super well done. And yeah, Dark Bloom, audience. If you haven't read it, you need to read it. I don't care what genre you like. Every genre is represented in that book. It's freaking amazing. It's well worth a read. You know, Rod Gilley, silver approval. You know what? Fantastic book. So now I'm going to step forward a little, and you'll have to pull back the reins and tell me when I need to cool it. But of course, I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
Oh, there's definitely a sequel there.
Yes.
Oh, wonder where they're going to go. I see Nick and Kate together no matter what forever, because they are so perfect. But there's so many obstacles in that world.
There are.
The goal at the end seems like an impossible goal. There's so much there. Can you give us some maybe some teasers about the sequel?
Absolutely. So it's gonna pick up other than the prologue, because you know, I gotta remind everybody where they're at, what we went through. It picks back up exactly where the other one left off, more or less. And their goal is still to get to that military installation, that military fort, and they get there. But man, the events that take place between then and getting there, and then the events that take place after, I will say that, well, I don't want to give spoilers away about the end of Dark Bloom, but I will say how it ended seems like it's going to be the main goal and the main idea of the sequel. And again, there's just a lot that gets in the way, and it doesn't really become about that because so much happens. And that's all I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, it is a difficult thing to do, to give those little teasers without giving too much, you know.
Yeah, we're gonna we definitely take some old friends on some journeys with us in the sequel. We make some new friends, we make a lot of new enemies. So it was really fun to write. I personally feel like I stepped my game up as a writer a lot. I know my editor really stepped up his game as an editor a lot, and together I think we've created something really cool. And I just hope that Dark Bloom fans really love it.
Oh, I'm kind of a slow reader because I work 15 hours a day, but I am a volunteer to be an ARC reader for your sequel. So if you need one, I'm here.
Excellent. Thank you.
Probably have a long list, but if you happen to have somebody drop out, I'll be happy to fill the void. All right. Unfortunately, we're going to run out of time, and I know the audience needs and wants to know this. If you would, I do put all the related links down in the description, but some of the platforms I share the videos on, you can't see the description. So if you would, share maybe your website, some social media, where people could say, you know, hi, Molly, what's up?
So I do have a website. I'm bad at updating it, but that has all my socials on there. But I'm on I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on X, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Threads. And then I'd say that the most active website I'm a part of, Dark Veil Society, it has my book, it has other great indie books. It's always got new press releases and exciting things going on. So that's another place that you can find me.
Fantastic. Awesome. And I'll do my best to get every link that I can down in the description. Because a lot of the people that watch my shows, they are on YouTube and they can see it. All right. I hate to say it because we're going to run out of time. I'm going to bring Relax and Chat episode 33. Sadly, I must bring it to a close. Absolute joy, total absolute joy, Molly, to have you on the show. I sure hope you'll come back again. Especially when you're ready to publish your sequel. We'll definitely do a promo for that.
Absolutely.
You know, I might go running in the street with the cover wrapped around me. Everybody, look at this book.
Just make sure somebody tapes that.
Yeah. Well, most people know I'm crazy anyway. It's slipped out somewhere. But truly, such a pleasure to meet you. And to the audience, keep an eye on this young lady. Grab Dark Bloom. I promise you won't be disappointed. You love romance? It's there. You want thrilling action? It's there. You want scary horror? It's there. You can't go wrong with this book. Pick it up, check it out. Find me on Twitter, find me on YouTube. Let me know how much you love this wonderful book, and we'll just chat about it as long as you want to. Well, that's me being a chatterbox. But we're at the end of this video. I sure hope everybody enjoyed it. I sure enjoyed meeting you, Molly.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great pleasure. All right, everybody. Bye-bye. I hope I'll see you in the next one.